Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your back porch professor. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. And I've got some breaking news here that's going to make your weekend even better. The Supreme Court just handed President Trump one of his biggest wins yet that's already serving as the legal nuclear weapon that will obliterate the administrative state. In the decisive 6-3 ruling, the justices shattered nearly a century of protection that kept unelected bureaucrats safely beyond presidential reach. Now, what this means is that this isn't just another legal victory. It's basically the death certificate for the deep state's century-long stranglehold on American government. For 90 years, a single Supreme Court case called Humphrey's Executor versus the United States has been the deep state's ultimate shield. We've talked about this before in some of our other videos. Humphrey's Executor, it's since 1935, so this is the FDR administration. That decision basically made it illegal for the president to fire bureaucrats on commissions. And as such, that decision created an untouchable class of federal commissioners who could ignore presidents, defy voters, and push their own agenda without consequence. So we're talking bureaucrats with the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, in the Securities and Exchange Commission, the National Labor Relations Board, the Consumer Product Safety Commission. So we're talking literally thousands of positions across Washington that have for decades operated under the same corrupt model. Now, of course, they justified their existence by calling themselves independent agencies, right? That's what you're going to hear over and over and over in the legacy media, who just fawn over these agencies. They're unelected administrative bureaucrats who are supposedly independent. But of course, the key question in all of that is independent from what? Or better, independent from whom? And we all know the answer to this. Ultimately, they're not just independent from the president or from Congress. They are ultimately independent from you, the American people, who never elected them. That's ultimately who they are independent from. They're independent from us, the American people. So you've got an entire class, a permanent class of unelected bureaucrats the legacy media absolutely loves, who since 1935 have run both the domestic and international policies of the federal government. Presidents come and go, but the unelected bureaucracy is permanent. And they're the ones who have ultimately been calling the shots in how our nation is governed. So the key here is that Humphrey's Executor was a Supreme Court decision that protected permanent Washington from being fired by the chief executive, the president of the United States. And as a result, these bureaucrats weren't civil servants. They were political operatives embedded in permanent positions, writing regulations with the force of law while answering to absolutely no one. Well, again, guess what? That current conservative majority on the Supreme Court just officially overturned Humphrey's Executor. I shouldn't say officially. So, well, if you're not familiar with the case that broke everything here, it's fascinating. So it involved FTC Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter. She's a Biden holdover. She was a Biden appointee who Trump fired simply for policy disagreements. So, he was going to say, I'm not going to have a single auto pen appointee in my government, certainly after January 20th. Now, under the old system, which has existed for 90 years now, since 1935, Trump would have been powerless to do anything about her. So commissioners could only be fired by virtue of some inordinate circumstance, like malfeasance in office or some kind of blatant corruption or something like that. But the beauty here is that Trump didn't cite any of those reasons when he fired her. He simply said, "You're fired. You're fired. You're an auto pen hangover and you're out of here." Now, when he did that, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that was a direct challenge to Humphrey's Executor. And that's exactly what Slaughter's lawyers did. They ran to federal court waving the Humphrey's Executor precedent like a get out of jail free card, right? And a lower court judge, who has yet to realize what time it is, ordered her reinstated, believing that the old rules still applied. Gang, the Supreme Court has stepped in, and they've seen enough. In their latest ruling, they didn't just allow Trump's firing to stand. They agreed to hear arguments in December on whether to overturn Humphrey's executor entirely, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So we're now at the precipice of this ridiculous Supreme Court decision getting completely and totally overturned. And liberal justices recognize that. Justice Kagan's panicked dissent in the decision that allowed the Trump administration to fire Slaughter revealed exactly what the establishment fears. Kagan is freaking out that Trump can now basically remove any member he wishes for any reason or no reason at all. Ms. Kagan, yep, it's called executive power. It's called the power of the people. The people elected President Trump. We booted Biden out, and now we expect every single bureaucrat appointed by that auto pen to be booted out right along with him. There was never, ever supposed to be an unaccountable, permanent bureaucracy running policy in D.C. And unfortunately for the Supreme Court liberals, the Constitution is absolutely clear on that matter. Article 2, right, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America, not in boards, not in commissions, not in independent agencies. For literally decades, legal scholars have pointed out the obvious. Humphrey's executor created a fourth branch of government that the founders never, ever intended. And now the Supreme Court is about to completely obliterate it. The gang, this is it. This is it. This is what the draining of the swamp really looks like. This is the dismantling of the administrative state. It's truly about to happen, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is what we voted for on November the 5th. This is what you voted for. This is how you are changing our nation and the world. Well, it's beginning to trickle out here. It's spitting a little bit, starting to rain, so that's going to do it for me. It's amazing stuff, gang. You changed the world on November 5th, and it's just getting started. We're not even a year in. Love you guys. God bless.